Welcome to the Healers Café, the #1 show for medical practitioners and holistic healers to have heart-to-heart conversations about their day-to-day lives while sharing their expertise for improving your health and wellness.
So, welcome to the Healers Cafe. And today I have with me Jeff Fienman. And he graduated in 1981 and 1985 from the University of Pennsylvania as licensed in molecular biology as a veterinarian. So I'm not sure how that goes. I think you would be a veterinarian and do molecular biology. You'll have to expand on that. But you're licensed to practice in California, Connecticut, and Florida. And your current focus is teaching pet parents to use the happiness protocol to achieve the best quality of life for their animal companions. The specific actions are based on cellular energy and vitality, individuality, and susceptibility, as described by the exposome. So I'm going to stop right there and I'm going to get you to really translate what all this means, what got you interested in this. I don't know how many children just suddenly wake up to this realization, this is what I want to be when I grow up. So why don't you share your path with us? And welcome.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate. I'm very grateful to be back. And no, the molecular biology part didn't come in, but I was a 4-year-old that wanted to be a veterinarian, and I'm not sure there was no obvious reason to me why. So it was innate in me that I was going to be an animal doctor, and what I learned through a lot of study and a lot of years of practice is that we need to be following the smartest veterinarian and doctor in the world, and that if we don't do that, we can't heal. And that it's really, there's a difference between fixing and reductionistic medicine, which is what we learn as molecular biologists or veterinarians or MDs, and healing, deeply healing. The reason, we can talk about that distinction, but who
Mm,
deeply heals? Dr. Mother Nature. And
mm,
Dr. Mother Nature has given us a very specific framework. It's been followed for thousands of years by all of the indigenous tribes around the world. But we're in the world of scientific medicine, so we don't follow that framework. But
mhm,
our medicine, our science is now verifying all the pieces of it. For
mhm,
example, I'm looking at James Nestor's book on the breath.
mm,
As you know, breath is life. Breath, prana is life force. And there's a reason for that. And, James goes into the scientific foundations, but also where it is now and how, art of living is used. And Yale University did a study that their breath meditation decreases stress and improves student performance. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah. So we can help our animals with the same
mhm.
framework of Dr. Mother Nature because our animals are even closer to it, except for
Right.
what we've done to keep up
Mhm,
from that.
mhm, mhm,
And really, everything I teach is about how we can follow our animals, how we can follow them into joy, into love, into happiness, into balance, which is really the bottom line is we live in that state of dynamic equilibrium, always changing and always seeking balance.
mhm, mhm, mm. And so, how did you what a try? Because you could help people. You can, and actually, I'm just going to get you to put your mic a little bit closer because I'm not hearing everything. I don't know.
That's me. I've got a neurodegenerative genetic disorder, and my speech and
Oh,
my
okay,
respiratory
no problem.
muscles. So I'm doing the best I can, but thank you for bringing that up because I'll try harder.
Well, I think actually just moving it there has made it better. It was the
Oh, good, good.
no, you're good. Now you're
Well,
clear.
I'm speaking louder also. Yes.
Yeah, that might help. True, true. Okay. So yeah, so you were attracted by um is it because animals are more natural, are closer to nature that like how did because you have this gift that you decided to go deeper in. How why is it you decided it is as a veterinarian? Like what was your sort of I'm going to do that rather than people or elderly or whatever it is. Like what is it that moved you?
Sure, sure. That's a question that the 4-year-old me that wanted to become a veterinarian and always wanted to be a veterinarian probably couldn't answer correctly, but I could answer it from the point of view of a 1982 student at the University of Pennsylvania, where they allowed me, because of my molecular biology, research into any if they wanted to keep me as a PhD and
Right.
doctor or whatnot. So they said you can go to medical school or vet school or law school or engineering, because Penn has all the schools. Why did I choose to go to vet school? I never had any desire to be a human doctor, and I guess there are deep psychological roots for that. And it might be right, it might be alignment with animals, but I don't know the answer. But it's ironic because that work after 40 years has led me back to a path. That's the path to pet wellness that works the same for people as it does for animals. It brings us into a place of joy, love, happiness, and balance.
Right. Right. But your way through was through animal understanding, animal communication and healing, like real healing, not synthetic whatever pharmaceutical healings, which are not healings. But it's from that, and then and now the passion is to train the masters of these animals what can be done, right? Because like I live in a province in it's British Columbia in Canada where technically I'm not allowed to treat my own animal. And what a crazy idea. Like, I find that incredible to think that not that I'm a vet, but that I can't do what would be so much of healing is looking after, is feeding, is being with, is being present to, and all of that, right? Thank God they don't look at that as treating. So you can get away with a lot, right? Um, as long as the drugs, if one were to choose to go that way, you go through vets, right? But it's interesting they'd bother making a law like that.
And I'm sure you know why they probably made that law. And there are lots of laws like that throughout the areas in the US, but most of the US we can treat and it's for the safety of the animals, safety of the guardian, buying and treating your own animals. But my argument is, since in the conventional world, the energetic doesn't exist and homeopathy isn't a drug and it isn't, anything, you can't measure it. I mean, it's not there. How is my use in that treating my animal? And what veterinary school is going to teach me how to do that? So
Right.
it's different, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah.
But you're right, it's the rules are very strict up there.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Much
interesting.
stricter than down here, where most of us in the world really are focused on empowering ourselves so
Right.
that we can learn from the framework of Dr. Mother Nature, which,
Mhm.
well, if in the 1800s in the US we had that same rule about treatment, then the pioneer women and mothers that went west, that
Mhm.
were all the doctors for their families, I'm not sure what would have happened.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. Yeah.
And
Mm.
one of the very best-selling books back then was called The Home Treatment. And it was the box in the book. It was a box of homeopathic medicines and a book that said, "Here's the problem here. Go to number 44 and use that."
Mm.
Now, was that treatment?
You're asking the question.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that would be considered to be treatment.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they have to decide whether it's all placebo because there's no, substance, or whether it's the act of wanting to help, which is treatment, right? Like they're trying to find the placebo in it one way or another, um, to discredit it. Like when they misuse homeopathy, what they do is in their studies, they give everyone the same medication, the same homeopathic remedy, and then they say it doesn't work. Well, any homeopath would know that if it lacks specificity and individuality, it's not going to work because that's not the basis of homeopathy, right? It's like cures like. So I think they haven't decided how to mistreat this art sufficiently. So,
Yeah, and it's ironic because we're very close. If you look at the HRI, the Homeopathy Research Institute, you'll see we're very close to really, getting those double-blind studies and enough evidence base for homeopathy to be a treatment.
yeah.
I just went to the second annual conference for global homeopathy sponsored by the Regenerative Medicine Clinic at the University of Connecticut.
Mm,
And the eminent first speaker that actually introduced he's the father of regenerative medicine up
mm,
there, and said, you guys are the way of the future.
mm. So is that what you use amongst other things, or in treatment is homeopathy?
I am a homeopath. I have been a
Mm,
homeopath this for a long time.
mm. Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
But as you may know, they say that you need 30 years of study before you really
Oh,
learn homeopathy.
oh my gosh, I know, I know. I've been very focused on homeopathy myself, and it's endless. The depth you can go and the nuance, and it's like being a detective, except that the end result you actually really can create miracles because that's how the body works. It's like,
Exactly, exactly.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
We are learning a fraction. We are trying to learn a fraction of what the vital force knows
Right.
intuitively. We live. The fact that we're alive is such a big miracle.
Yeah.
I mean, a quantum physicist, one of the founders of quantum physics back in 1944 realized this and invented a term called negative entropy, which is vital
Mhm.
force, basically.
Yeah.
He wrote a little book called What is Life? Because, life exists at that level that it is such a miracle, and there are so many intricacies that we're just beginning to ascertain.
Mhm.
And yeah, the homeopaths are the ones that are trying to weed out, just like any scientist does when they first start
Yeah.
learning science.
Mhm.
just like Noon did, for
Yeah.
decades, and maybe, but unfortunately, there's a lot of things going on in our society
Hmm.
that are affecting, the medical paradigm and health in general.
What would your life be like if you were pain-free? If you were one of the millions who suffer from chronic pain, the thought of just one day without it may seem impossible. This is often because conventional medicine tends to fall short in the treatment of pain, opting to prescribe pills or recommend surgery rather than getting to the root cause of the problem. But if you are suffering with emotional or physical pain, there is hope. Join the founder and CEO of Bowen College, Manon Bolliger, live online for your body-mind reboot. Learn how to listen to your symptoms and get to the root cause of your pain. Plus, be trained in basic Bowen therapy moves so that you can reboot your body for optimal health. You don't have to live in pain. You can heal. Stop the pain pill cycle by visiting www.yourbodymindreboot.com to learn more and to register.
Yeah, do you, like, no, this is probably not a fair question because we're still in high censorship times, at least out here. So I better not ask intelligent questions. But but have you found that there's a difference in treating animals whose owners have followed, just about every theory, every pharmaceutical theory out there, like, take your shots for this and take your shots for that, and a bit like they're doing to infants, whereas maybe it was 5 or 6 shots, now we're at what, 172 or something, some ridiculous, like, I mean, in the human, it's obvious the impact. But I wonder if it wouldn't be the same if you literally poison animals and then of course they get sick. I mean, it makes the treatment of homeopathy in my mind more complex because you're needing to detox, literally toxins in the body as well as work with the vital force, which is more than happy to work with you, you know?
I'm a simple guy. I like to break things down to
Mhm.
their simplest. So, I would reframe what you just said as a matter of vitality. That we have a certain amount of cellular energy. If you want to talk about mitochondrial function or
Mhm.
molecular mechanisms, we can talk about that as well. And every time we work against our body's natural healing ability, we lower its ability to heal. If you do
Yeah.
that enough, yeah, you end up in immune failure, or you end up with cancer, you end up, yeah. So yeah, I do think to answer your question, yes or no, yes, I do think there is a direct relation between that.
Mhm. I think we did that very discreetly. Anyway, I think,
Well, if you want to get into the cell, this
yeah.
transcription and translation is the process of moving from the DNA into protein. It's also the most energy consuming process.
Right.
The body does it. The vital force has to be in control of because we can't do anything about that, but we can affect translation, intracellular translation, the way that the vital force can.
Mhm.
So Dr. Mother Nature can, but or we do that to detox because our bodies are detoxing all the time, but the more it has to detox, more energy it uses. That actually might be a better way of thinking about it than how I
Mhm.
think about it is.
Right.
The detox process, rather than talk about transcription and translation, the detox process is very energy demanding.
Consuming. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no,
Why did my cat have surgery back in March, April, and nothing has started regrowing? Because her body is so devitalized. Got to build back up to where she has a power, the vital
right.
force to regrow her hair. She will in time.
Mm-hmm.
I think a big part of the issue is we want things
Mm-hmm.
that done quickly. We use the interventions we use because they work. They often work within a day or two. The vital force, Mother Nature, doesn't necessarily follow our timeline.
No, no, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, no, I know one, you know, because our family uses homeopathy for just about everything, including, my daughter's dogs and that. But we really had a hard time with one of her dogs to to nail a remedy that worked, and I mean, there's thousands of them. Uh, you can't always get the right one. I mean, but only the right one really works, so it could be just a question of time. But she became very aware how much the dog was suffering, and then decided to go for a knee surgery. And it was quite amazing. The last time I saw her, the dog was really not suffering anymore, much more at peace, and so it's kind of one of the most, like, because I'm definitely not pro doing a bunch of unnecessary surgeries. And I always think, well, a remedy can be found, but there's a point in which you have to know your animal. And um and I felt that she was very connected. She's always been connected. and
Right.
and she said, no, no, this time, we're going to do it this way. And I thought that was very, brave, because that's not our life experience. Homeopathy's always worked. So it's interesting, but it was very strong, like, much more of a connection and a real knowing that this is what this dog needed now, and that she couldn't wait much longer. And it was actually quite beautiful to witness.
And that is what I call in the book and in Path to Pet Wellness and in Holistic Actions, we learn about something called conscious, compassionate communication.
Mm-hmm.
That's what your daughter was practicing. So that's beautiful. Thank you
Mm-hmm.
for sharing that.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. Mm. It's like an instinct, right? Yeah.
It's a connection. It's
Mhm.
love. I mean,
Yeah,
we're talking about a paradigm powered by love energy.
right, right. Exactly. Hmm.
And the further we get away from the harder it becomes, like you said, to heal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, because I'm surprised that the dog is healing quite well, which
Great.
is always a sign that it was the right thing. Like, in the sense that if it doesn't go against the vital force, if it's in flow, then it was the right thing. And so now giving a homeopathic remedy just finishes it. It just makes it beautiful. Whereas it felt like there was too much fighting, like the dog could not get past that point, and then the surgery became useful.
In our online membership in Holistic Actions, this year we're teaching the roadmap to wellness and balance. And the way it started in January was how to get the best of both worlds. And
Mm.
how to get the best of both worlds is what you just described.
Hmm. Oh, very interesting. Um, so I was going to say, do you have any sort of story or something you want to share, that would get people interested to take the next step and, read your book and find out more?
Well, I mean, these are cases, real cases that a dog with one kidney that went into kidney failure and was supposed to die, and as a young dog lived and had a decade of high performing quality of life. Another dog had a fatal non-regenerative anemia that again went on to have a great life. I have my own cat that had the surgery and the hair loss that I just had, the shaving,
Mm,
had a near after that thing. After that, she had her crate went down to a 14.
mm,
Where like people would like to see a 30, 40 or thereabouts. And at
right.
14, we figured out she was emaciated and, having diarrhea all over the house and blah, blah, blah. Within 2 weeks, and she had leukemia. According to her blood work, her white cells were over 50,000 or up at 50,000 with all lymphocytes and blah, blah. 2 weeks of homeopathy, good diet, sunshine, love, body renormalized.
Yeah.
I have the lab work before and
Mm,
after 2 weeks later.
yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, because we
Right.
all have, yeah. And I'm sorry, but yeah, ruptured cruciate in a dog can be a tough homeopathic case to handle, especially if it was a bigger dog.
Yeah, it's a bigger dog that loves squirrels.
And quality of life wise, there's often no choice. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Interesting, yeah. Well, maybe if you could hold up your book one more time so that
Or
and then so it's called
path
okay, to wellness.
to pet wellness.
Oh, to pet. That's big. I can see that somehow my eyes went right by it.
That
Pass to pet wellness. Perfect. Okay, well, thank you. And how do people reach you? And do you, by any chance, do long distance consultations?
That's a whole nother podcast to answer. I did today get off with Hong Kong and Sweden, and yeah, but those are people in our holistic actions community. So
Right.
yeah, it's a long and convoluted answer. The best way to reach me is through HA, which is
Okay.
holisticactions.com. And our VIP membership is closed most of the year, but it's opening in a couple of weeks. And that's a VIP, it's a mentoring membership. So
Okay.
I don't know when your pod drops, but it will be closed by 28th June.
Okay. I think homeopathic vets are so hard to come by. They're we had like when I lived in Nova Scotia, there was one, and in Ontario there was one. Well, actually, she was in the States, but it was close enough. But it's so hard, and not so much for horses, because I mean they can't take anything else, the way I see it anyway. But cats and dogs, it's yeah, we need more of people who do that. Maybe it'll change.
That is actually my mission. The rest of my life is changing that at the level of the pet parent. What we're doing, vet tech, and then maybe even the veterinarians.
Yeah.
But it starts right here in my
Right.
family.
Of course,
And
yeah.
that's all that we can do for
Yeah.
now.
All right. Well, thank you very much for sharing your information with us, and
Thank
we'll
you
see
for
what we
having
can
me.
do.
All right.
Okay.
Well, let's go out there
Thanks.
and spread the word.
That's right.
Thank you for joining us at the Healers Café. If you haven't already done so, please like, comment, and subscribe with notifications on as I post
a new podcast every Wednesday with tons of useful information and tips for natural healing that you won't want to miss.